Hello everyone, remember this? CitizenCon 2023.
And I've sort of seen some online comments about, okay, well that's very cool, but when are we going to get it in the game? But one of the real reasons why we wanted to show you this CitizenCon is because we've hit an inflection point on a lot of the features, as in they're either finished or they're in polishing stage, which is why we're showing them. So everything that we've been showing you here at CitizenCon is our intention, not making 100% promise, just so everyone remembers that, to get them into Star Citizen through next year. So it's not going to be gated on having to be after Squadron 42. So we're planning over the Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 of next year. Hopefully everything that we've shown you, you will have in your hands playing inside Star Citizen.
And we have this inside Star Citizen December 2023. Jared was making huge promises.
And tell you what has me excited about this next year for the persistent universe in a segment that I'm calling Disco Lando's Star Citizen 2020 Forecast. Now, without talking specific dates, let's discuss what's being targeted and currently on track for release in just the first half of 2024, starting with Master Modes, the new way to pilot and operate ships we've been discussing since CitizenCon 2952. Now, whether that's every ship or a staggered rollout of groups of vehicles depends on how work progresses. And of course, when your ships aren't in flight, they can be stored in the newly persistent hangars that are arriving with freight elevators, freight kiosks, and the new cargo transaction system that we've shared on both ISC and this year's CitizenCon. And then outside of vehicles and hangars, there's also a variety of FPS combat improvements coming to the first half of 2024, with improvements to reloading, the weapon wear and misfire system, scopes and dynamic crosshairs and charge and drain, and even more we'll be able to show you once we return in the new year. And then outside of strictly FPS combat, there are new player character features coming, like the updates to the EVA system, the visor and lens system, loot screens, default item interactions in the personal interaction system, and there's even new shopping and mission apps in development now. And while we're talking about apps, the first half of 2024 is also currently scheduled to see the arrival of our new character customizer with things like tattoos, piercings, scars, and yes, Virginia, it's true, beards. And as for how many and of what kind, only Andre knows for sure, but you can bet we're gonna ask him sometime around March. And then, of course, if you're in-game, there's also a little thing called Mobiglass and an awfully big thing called Star Map that are both getting their big updates in the first half of next year. And have I mentioned those enormous distribution centers that'll be the new microcosm homes for every gameplay and mission feature that exists in Star Citizen, as well as the 4, 5, 6, let's just say several new and updated vehicles that are making their way to the persistent universe in just the first 6 months of 2024? What about Pyro and 4.0? Well, don't fret. The things that we just covered are those that aren't too dependent on continuing foundational tech work like server meshing. So we feel pretty confident in targeting everything that we just shared for the first 6 months. But when it comes to something as enormous as the complete Pyro system in Alpha 4.0, well, that's where the new preview channel comes into play. Now that said, Alpha 4.0 is currently targeting a summer 2024 release, but that won't mean that you have to wait until then to play it or learn more about it. That's because in 2024, we'll continue doing playtests like the one we just completed, and you'll be able to follow along with its development firsthand on the preview channel. But also an entire host of additional new features, content, and quality of life improvements like, fully functional jump points, the new quantum travel system, new vehicle HUD and MFD work, resource management, hacking, and much, much more, all being worked on in tandem.
Here we have Jared's promises for first half 2024, which is now over, and I give points if we have it in game and in what state. 12 points are available. Let's see how many points CIG gets. Yes, we got master modes, but it has a lot of issues. It's arcade and gamey. Oh, you want to use your guns and have shields, reduce your speed to SCM. It's not fun. It's slow. Master modes does not eliminate jousting, but makes it almost mandatory in fights to survive. And we have those minor things like weapon groups are not saved when switching modes, speed limiter is not saved when you are switching between the different modes either. In 2014, Chris said very clearly he doesn't want a Wing Commander X-Wing style flight model, and now we got master modes, which is even more arcadey. If CRT right now would go back to John Bridges' pre-3.0 flight model, this game would be 100 times more fun. For this master modes, I can only give 0 points. I am sorry. Persistent hangars with freight elevators did not make it into the game in the first half 2024, so that's a 0. Yes, currently it's in an Evocati patch, but that's an Evocati patch, that's not live. First person shooter combat improvements, weapon wear and misfire. We got some improvements. The helmet UI with showing where your gun is actually hitting is kinda annoying. Luckily we don't have misfire yet, so I give very generous half a point. Updates to EVA system. We are now Iron Man. If you would do this in real life, you would have a hard time to see what's in front of you. You would have to put your head totally up and your neck hurts. Still, it works very nicely, so I give 1 full point. Visor and lens system. Yes, we got some improvements, but we also got hit markers. We have markers above the head of enemies. Chris always talks about fidelity and immersion. This is neither, Chris. This is totally arcadey. Let's be again very generous and give half a point. New loot screens. Yes, we got new loot screens, but it's really terrible. It is a lot slower to loot now. We have a holographic design with ghosting text, ghosting icons, transparent backgrounds with lights shining through, no opacity slider and moving elements that never stand still. You have to switch the screens between looting weapons, ammunition and undersuits armor. This is way too slow, even out of combat, and a death sentence in combat if you quickly need to loot a weapon or ammunition. Sorry, this is clearly a 0. This is worse than what we had before, which was not exactly good. Default item interactions. UI and how we interact with the world is still very clumsy, very bad. I don't know why CRT doesn't look how other games are doing it. I played hundreds of games and usually selecting what you want to use, what you want to pick up is very easy, not so much in Star Citizen. It's even worse if you have several things on the screen. Other games are using a focus system. CRT is using a kind of focus system, but it doesn't focus well. For example, if you are at a shop and you want to buy something to drink, you have to move your vision around until finally the thing you actually want to buy is in view. Why not use a focus system like almost any other game does, Chris? This means I can only give a 0. Personal item interaction system, pushing buttons with your hand, still not in the game. There are buttons you couldn't even reach, for example elevator buttons on Hercules C2 or on Reclaimer. So that's clearly a 0. New character customizer, and I wrote, I wonder if this time we can save our characters. Yes, we can save our characters. There are still some things missing, but I give a full point. Mobi class improvements and star map. Okay, I can combine this. Holographic design, ghosting text, ghosting icons, transparent backgrounds with lights shining through, no opacity slider, moving elements that never stand still, animated selection wheels that have no place in a PC game. Selection wheels are crutch for consoles. Bad focus system. Fly your ship, approach a space station, you are flooded with icons and names you don't care about. And CRT managed to make icons worse. Before 3.23 we had distinct icons, for example for OMs, moons, etc. Yeah, Chris was only interested to get his cool, cinematic Iron Man UI. Chris never cares about function or if it's user friendly. New star map, same things I said about Mobi class improvements, same terrible Iron Man UI. Don't get me wrong, Iron Man UI looks very nice in a movie, but it's terrible to use in a game. In the old star map, for example, when you were clicking on the location, you could easily zoom in onto this location. Now you have to move the star map and then you can zoom in. The only good thing about the new star map is the search field, which is very nice, but even this is very clumsy. For example, you are at Dema, you are searching for Shubin, you type in Shubin, and the game shows you all Shubins on every moon or planet instantly. You cannot even sort by a distance. When I'm at Dema and I'm looking for Shubin, I'm not interested in a Shubin on Microtech. So this is clearly a 0-2. The new UI in 3.23 is worse than the old terrible UI, and I didn't think this was even possible. CRG, you succeeded at something at least. Distribution centers. Yes, we got some in the game, but they are in random locations. Nothing is nearby. No cities, no settlements, no mining areas. There is no reason for their existence. If we just need distribution centers, put them in space so no one has to fly in and out of a gravity well. There is nothing nearby that would produce or need cargo, and we have roads that just end at the distribution center. They just end. We are in year 12, Chris. In addition, distribution centers are not finished. Deeper levels are still missing, and my guess is we won't see deeper levels for a very long time. Only 2 hangars, and all distribution centers are the same thing, exactly the same layout. Once again, CRG cannot even be bothered to give us 5, 10, 20 different designs. Even a low-budget game, like for example 7 Days to Die, has hundreds of different POIs. We also got the same old missions: kill X bad guys or deliver some packages. I give a very generous half a point. My result is, we got 3.5 of 12 points. For something Jared made such huge promises in December last year, this is again very lousy.
Get used to disappointment.
I guess we are used to this from CRG by now. I hope you found this interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and see you next time. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen. I don't know what happened. My mule is destroyed and I died. I died. I wasn't hitting anything. Okay, I'm back in Everest Harbor, it says. Hey, you're still here. You might want to join me on Twitter. My Twitter account is Camural_SC.